Okay, some reason it's repeating itself.
Okay, let's try this. This might be better. Okay, look. Oh, look at everybody that's here from all over the place. Hello, hello. Yeah, I think I figured the sound part out. So we have people from all over the world. Look, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're from. So thank you all so much for joining me here tonight. This is really an opportunity for us to have a dialogue about using these cool tools, the Ouija board. I get a lot of questions, and I thought it'd be great to hop on here and do a session where we can actually interact directly. You can write your questions, and I can, talk with you about it if you want to have, more insight to how to use this tool. I know people are struggling with that. Also, how to take it to the next level if you're wanting to do that. Also, how to, bust through some of the myths out there about the Ouija board, about this talking board, spirit board. And even if you want to talk about some of the history of this tool, I always think it's important to understand where it came from, why it was used, why it was created, and then all the people who've used it throughout the years. There's many, many people that have used it. I'm happy to follow in their footsteps. That's all. So again, thank you for joining me. Everybody's from all over the world here. I appreciate that. And so, let's start with some questions. Who has a question they'd like to ask first about using this tool? And of course, when I'm answering your questions, I'll go into some more details, and I might have more things to talk about as we go along. Hey there. Hi, guys. Yeah, all you guys made it. Well, let me just start with this. Let me just say that Ouija, we tend to call all talking boards Ouija, although what I have behind me and with me are Ouija boards. This one back here, this brown one back here on the top shelf, that is actually a Canadian Ouija. They also bought the rights to use the name Ouija, and that happened back in 1890, 91, 92, in that era. And it was a Canadian company called the Cop Clark Company. They now are owned by Canada Games Company, and this one right here is actually one that was made by Cop Clark Company. So it's one of the older ones. Then the rest are Ouijas. These are all made by Hasbro. I think there's some kind of sometimes misunderstanding about that. Talking board is the overall umbrella name, and that's what you would call any kind of type of communication device. For example, this would be considered this little guy, cute little thing. It's a notebook, but it actually works. Here's a little planchette. This would be considered a talking board or spirit board because it's not manufactured or created by Hasbro. And then, of course, I always make my own. You've seen me do this before. Here's one I made out of cardboard. I would call this a spirit board or talking board, not a Ouija board. Just so you guys know. Don't want Hasbro coming after me. Okay, so let's see. What questions do you guys have to ask? Oh, yeah, you guys, we are going to do questions in the hat soon, or a live session. Rodney and I have talked about it. So I will be announcing it here, of course, on my YouTube channel and also in my newsletter. If you haven't joined my newsletter, please do. But that will be coming out soon. I would say probably within the next month. I just got to get our schedules working. I'm traveling and working a lot, and he is too. And so he's been gone for like a month now. So we'll do that soon. It'll be live or questions in the hat. I know you guys like that. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, okay. After all your time doing this, okay. After all your time doing this, Karen, is there ever a time now that it won't work for you? Like if your energy is low? Great question. When I first start with somebody new, that's when it doesn't work for me sometimes because I got somebody new there. We have to build up our energies together. How the guides explained it was it's like three coming together. We consider them a one. They're the energy, and then my energy, and let's say my partner's energy. So I can sit down on the board with somebody who's never used it before. It may not work well at all. It may just do gibberish. It may hardly even move. Typically it moves. I think it's because I built up my energy enough over the years, but that's when I find it struggles and it needs to develop that energy. So keep this in mind, you guys, when you're using this tool, you want to, like I always say, they're 3 Ps, right? Practice, patience, and perseverance. You really need that time under your belt to build up that energy. And once you do make that connection and it's starting to spell, it'll just go like gangbusters after that. Let's see. Oh, if your energy's low, I don't recommend it. When my energy's low, let's say if I'm sick, I'm not going to use the tool, not because of any scary thing happening, just because I know I don't have the energy to put forth to it. It does require a lot of energy. And typically when I'm done using the board, I'm like high. I'm super high because the energy flows through. It's such a beautiful feeling. But when I'm sick, I can't keep my mind focused as well. And so I just don't want to do that. Hey, congratulations, Wolf. You just got a new limited edition board. Yeah, get in a good emotional, mental state. And how to do that. Okay, well, this is what you got to do. First of all, you got to come to the tool and go, hey, this is just a tool. This is just a device. It's nothing spooky, weird. I mean, look at this. In this case, it's just cardboard. So get yourself in a mental state of, look, this is a tool. Anything that's going to happen, it's going to happen because of myself, because I'm the one using it. And so start there, have the belief that it's going to work, and then really work on getting yourself in like kind of a neutral space. It could be an elated or happy space, but if you just be neutral, so you're not negative. If you had a rough day, it's not the time to be using the board. If you're really angry at somebody, I mean, you will constellate those energies and draw them to you. So I say, try to get in a good space, or at least a neutral state. Meditation, deep breaths, even journaling a little bit, just to get that flow. Or even, what I like to do is a breathing exercise along with a prayer, which is my intentions. And when I do that, that immediately hooks me in. Now, I've been doing it such a long time that when I sit down and I do the breathing exercise, hold my partner's hands, and then say the prayer, it's like, boom, I feel them, okay? So do what you can to feel your guides, to feel the energies. Let's say you want to speak to an ancestor or a deceased loved one or a transitioned animal, pet. Just tune into them first and make that request. That will help you. Let's see, where was I? Okay, got that. Where does the term hat session mean? Do you mean when I call it questions from the hat? Is that what you mean? That's just something I made up. We put the questions in a hat, pull them out, and random, and then you get asked questions. I think that's what you're asking me. Okay, great. Mike asked, I'm afraid to use any problem, demons or others, I have been told. Yeah, I know. People want to say all kinds of silly things. All right. This is not to take away from anybody's experiences. But what I'm here to tell you is that you can have positive, good, enlightening, exciting experiences that leave you feeling loved and in control. People are going to disagree with me, and that's fine. But I'm going to tell you why. You don't have to create this negative or bring in the negative energy if you're beginning to work with yourself in a positive light. And what I mean by this, I always tell people the word I use is centered. Get in your center, get in the side and part of you, like in your heart. So one of the breathing exercises I use is I call it hips to heart. It's when I actually take my breath into my body and I breathe it down into my hips, which is your sacrum, sacred area, and ground yourself into the ground. And then I take the breath up into my heart and I breathe out what it feels like to feel love. It could be, how you feel when you just love something so much, like it could be your pet, your spouse, your friend, your parents, whatever, that feeling. And I just try to emulate that and breathe it. That gets yourself into your center. And once you get in that space, you are this new vibrational energy. You're allowing yourself to attract that which you feel within. You don't have to have the negative experiences. Well, you can if that's what you choose. But I'm here to help people learn not to have those experiences. There's no reason for them. You can have great experience. You can communicate with your guides, and you will know it's them, and you can communicate with your loved ones. I always say, ask for those energies that have your best interest at heart to work with you, and make that your mantra. Make that your statement of what you want to come to you. And if anything less than you feel like it's coming through, or you don't understand what's coming through, tell it, thank you, but I'm going to say goodbye because I need somebody to come through that has my best interest at heart and I can understand. Okay. Sometimes they'll come through in the beginning and they have a hard time spelling. That's okay. Just let them know that, hey, I can't quite understand you. Just step aside while I invite another to help bring in the messages. And if you need help, maybe my spirit guide or angel can help you. So try these tactics. It's like somebody calls you on the phone, you got a bad connection, you're like, hey, let me hang up and call you again. It's that kind of thing. Think of this no different than a phone. You're going to dial up what's on the other side through your intentions and that raising your energy to reach that, changing your vibratory state to reach that. And once you get in the center of your body and do that from within, everything else is going to fall in place. If you don't get a great connection, hang up, say, thank you, sorry, I can't hear you. Hang up, stop the planchette and start over. Okay, I hope that helps. Okay, so Linda says, I've tried using the board alone and it worked only once and then stopped moving. Any idea why? Yes, this happens a lot, especially in the beginning. You might have a really good session. You probably had your energy elevated. An energy came through. I always call them energy, spirit, interdimensional being, an energy came through, was able to make that connection. And maybe that was its one time. I've had those that come through just one time. And so this is what I recommend. When you make a connection with one of these energies that you feel is good, it's helpful, you're having a good conversation, it's starting to spell, ask that energy if it can begin to work with you and help you develop yourself on the tool. Meaning, will it be your moderator, your master or mistress of ceremonies? Will it be the one that'll help you bring in the other energies or help them when they come through? I had this being, and I talk about it in my book, The Spirits of Ouija. I talk about it in here. And her name was Wilma Jean. If you guys recall, if you read the book, she was a deceased person who was a slave and was killed by her owner. And she stuck around because she was really curious to help other people as they were passing and transitioning. And then we met. And she worked with me for about 15 years. Then it switched over to my angel, Mary Angel, who I worked with for many years. And then the guides came in. And you guys all know since 1994, I've been working with the guides. So there'll be a progression. And sometimes you'll have beings that'll come through 1 or 2 times. That's it. I've had them come through and say, hi, just came to say hello, see what's going on. And we saw the light, wanted to say hi, we like what you're doing, bye, and it leaves. So don't give up on it. If it just works one time, it's probably just that energy you connected with. And then try some of those techniques of bringing in some other beings that will also work with you. Yeah. Oh, hi. Hey, Roberta. You guys, there's a woman in here. I got to tell you, shout out to Roberta. She goes way back. In fact, she's in this book. And she goes way back to 1989. She and I would sit together and use the board. We had some really incredible experiences. And I like what she said. She sages to get herself in the state of using this tool. That's a great point. Thank you, Roberta. Use any technique that you're already using that helps you get into your spiritual state, that helps you get into a centered place. It may be burning sage, and I used to do that all the time. I still do. I still like to use my sage. Burning a candle, using incense, using sound, a crystal ball. I mean, bringing your crystals out. My guides call those baubles and beads, but when they have meaning to us, they bring meaning to the tool. They bring meaning to the session. They help you. They inspire you and help you to feel strong in what you're doing and to feel protected, if you will. My prayer does that for me. And one of the things you learn after using this tool for a while is that you become your own protection, meaning you get to know your center of yourself, and that gets projected out, and you're protected within that space. So that's something that you start to work toward and advance towards. Okay, great, Linda. Yeah, it's just a board, Wolf. That's right, you guys. These are, they're cool. I have them. I'm looking right now. I have 21, 22 on the wall over here. I've got them all over my house. I've got them behind. I got them everywhere, you guys. I have one on my altar in my bedroom. I've got this one's usually in my bedroom by my bed. I might use it by myself at night. This is the deal. They're just the tool. You are the one that makes this tool work. Let's give ourselves some credit, you guys. We're not disempowered. We're really empowered beings. We're divine beings. We have a lot of power, and we just need to step into that. And remember, a board, cardboard, masonite. That one back there's masonite. This one's masonite. Aren't going to hurt you. That's cardboard back there. That one's a type of compressed board. By the way, you guys, this is my board Santa gave me in 1973. It's a circa 1972. They made this board through, I think, 82, this same board. Then they changed it a little bit. Anyway, let's get back to some questions. All right, so here's a question from Efren Loco. He says, how can I use my Ouija board? It's brand new. I bought it at Spencer's Thursday night. Congratulations. I think I know which board you got. You got the new one from Winning Moves. It's really cool looking. Can I try to use it while you use yours? You can use it whenever you want. I'm not going to be using a board tonight. I'm just here to really talk to you and show you. Look, this board works, you guys. And by the way, these work great as planchettes. Look at that. Just goes around. And I'm pushing it, you guys. But to answer your question, you could watch. I do a lot of live stuff on here. And with Rodney, my board partner, and you check it out there. You'll see us using this tool live. And again, we're going to be doing it soon live. But you don't need me to do your tool. You just need yourself. You just need to get in that state, that right frame. And by the way, I have other videos on this channel that talk about, part 1, part 2, how to use this board. And Rodney and I do a lot of videos on this subject. So you definitely can do this. All right, let's see. It feels like when I use, this is from Shades. I feel like when I use the board, I'm the one doing it. I've never received information or answers I'm not consciously aware of already. Okay, now, true. Now, let's talk about this. There's a few things that could be going on here. One, it could really be your subconscious mind, which they call the ideomotor effect, which means your brain controls the muscle movements in your body, and therefore subconsciously you are pushing it, you're not aware of it. Okay. That's one explanation. Another one that I like, and my friend Roberta that's in here, she and I used to talk to our higher selves on the board. And that's talking to yourself. So it is like a subconscious thing. But think of this. Your higher self is that part of you that exists beyond this bag of bones, this corporeal existence. It exists beyond, like, into other dimensions. It's multidimensional. It's that part of you that can reach into these other places and spaces and planes. And that part you can communicate with. And listen, my friend Marla Martin said, use the board, and she would sit there like this every night for about 8 to 9 months before it actually started working for her. And when it started working, she would start guessing what was coming through, and then she just knew it. So you, Shades, intuitively might be one of those people that can do that. When I work the board alone, that tends to happen for me more as well. But when I work it with a partner, I purposely take my conscious mind out of the equation. And I almost, if you guys watch me, I multitask. I'm writing with one hand. I got a finger on the planchette. I'm reading the letters out. And I got to tell you, I'm also doing my shopping list in my mind. I'm thinking of what things I need to buy at the grocery. I mean, I'm really checking out. It's crazy. But that's a technique I developed because I wanted that tangibility, that this is something working beyond me. If you end up getting the messages as they're coming through, this is what the guides would recommend to you to do. Write those down too. You may be somebody who surpasses and jumps off this board. The board is just a springboard, pun intended. The board is a springboard into using your own abilities. That's all it is, you guys. Because I didn't know you could use the board alone when I first started in 73, I thought you had to have a partner. So I always used it with a partner until 6 years ago. Yeah, almost 7 years ago now. And I used it for 39 years, but with a partner, because I thought you had to. That's what the instructions said. But I learned you didn't have to. And I prefer working with a partner. To me, it works so much easier. The planchette moves smoother, and I'm more practiced using it that way. But by all means, I know many of you have written to me, and I recognize a lot of you in here in the site that's talking to me right now. You've written to me and asked me about that, and you can use it alone. There's nothing bad going to happen. And guess what? I leave my planchette on the board all the time. In fact, it's like that usually downstairs, or it's like this, or I do this. It's fine. It's totally fine. Let's bust these silly superstitions that are out there. Let's see. Sage spray is great. I have this wonderful witchy brew. One of my friends made me from the UK, and it's this healing herb thing she made. And I'll spray it. I spray it in my room. I spray it in my bed. I spray it on my house. I'll spray it around my boards and before I work. It's just that added sense of energy, and when I smell it, it's like really uplifting. So think of what makes you feel that way. If you can feel joy, love, uplifted before you use this tool, and neutrality is fine, as I mentioned. Neutrality is fine. But if you could even elevate your senses, and you do that through augmenting with the smells again, or the sights, the candles, a prayer, that will help you. That will help you make great connections. The connections you make are based on your frequency. The guides always tell me, they've told many people this, they say, what separates us from you when you from us? What separates us from a flower or you from a flower? It's your rate of vibration. And your rate of vibration is known as frequency. So it's our frequency that allows us to connect. It's just like tuning a dial on a radio. You get all kinds of static till you get the station, you finally tune into it, and then you connect with it. Same thing here. But we are the dial. We're the walking Ouija board, you guys. We're the ones that are doing all this work, and we're the ones that are dialing in the frequency. So use what you can to augment that. Yeah, Spiritual Link, he goes, I have a question. If you can, okay. Do you have times where you doubt spirituality altogether and start to think it's all in the mind? Yes, I have gone through plenty of that through my process. And when I start experiencing even greater things, I do question it. And rightfully so. We should all be skeptic. We should all be skeptical at first, and be skeptical as you're beginning to explore these things, because there's so much more out there, and sometimes it's hard to believe we're doing this. I mean, when I started talking to trees, you guys, trees, okay, that kind of freaked me out at first. I was like, this works, Now, am I making it up? I don't think so. I guess it's possible I could be, but let me tell you, they told me such detailed information about how they live, how they communicate with each other. And then I found this book. Somebody brought it to my attention. I think it's called The Hidden Life of Trees, or The Secret Life of Trees. I think it's The Hidden Life of Trees, written by a researcher in the German forest. And he researches trees and says, yes, they have a hierarchical level. They have families. They talk to each other. They send off scents. They send out vibrations. It's all through the root system or through their smells. It may not be talking like we do, but they communicate. And so, yeah, it's weird at first, but when as I start exploring these things, I will keep a lot of this to myself. And then after I do it so many times and I keep getting these wonderful responses and it feels good within, and I check it out with the guides, then I'll come forward and share it with you. That's how it works for me. But yeah, it's natural to question ourselves. Look, we have so much of our apparatus, our senses that we can use that don't necessarily reach into these other dimensions. As we develop, we begin to reach more into these other dimensions, and it happens through just really developing your clairsenses. And we all have these abilities. And then as we develop them, more things become more apparent to us and more real, more real, if that's the right way to say it. And then you will question it as you grow. So it's natural, and just don't give up on yourself. This is what I say. If you're doing something that's good, feels good to you, it's not hurting others, it's helping you, and you're finding enlightenment, ascension, excitement, joy, love in your life, then by all means continue. Again, you're not hurting anybody. You're not hurting yourself. These become the litmus test, if you will, to know what it is you're connecting with and where you are with this process. And then, what works really great, you guys, when you work with this tool and you start bringing in the guides, is journaling. I talk about that all the time. Okay, let's see. I hope that helped. Okay. Yeah. All right. See, I made one out of cardboard. No results yet. Yeah. Practice it. Right. Jay, right. Yeah, you know what? This can be an easy tool. It was easy for me, okay? I kind of came out of the womb, probably with the Ouija board in my hands. Just kidding. But at 2 years old, I was seeing things. And so I did work on developing myself away from the board over the years. I used the tool from the get-go, and it worked pretty well. But when I would work on myself, and again, Roberta's one of my fellow women friends, when I was younger in my 20s and 30s, we would get together and go attend all kinds of spiritual conferences and events. We would take classes and courses together. We were studying, we were doing past life therapy, all kinds of things. Because the more I developed my own abilities within, such as using the healing light energy, learning Reiki or hands-on healing, and those techniques, they just help augment me with my work on the board, and vice versa. The board helped me with those techniques. So I say, especially if you're new to this tool, start exploring your spirituality in other ways. Learn to develop your energy in your hands and your body. Learn to work with the energy through your body, visualization. I talk a lot about light energy. I talk a lot about this in my books. Those will help you incredibly to help your work progress, Jay, right, with this tool. Let's see. What is she? Because I'm sensitive with smoke. Okay, great. Yeah, if smoke, yeah, a lot of people are sensitive to incense, smoke, and burning. Yeah, use a spray instead if that works for you. Yeah, that's wonderful. I'm glad you brought that up. And if sprays, perfumes aren't necessarily good for people. If there's some kind of perfume in there that's bothering you too, don't use that either. Get your crystals out. Get your stones out. Once in a while, I do get out my crystals. I might bring out my little crystal skull I have, or crystal angel. I might wear, like here, I've got my Ouija board, my planchette necklace on. The most important thing I want to stress is getting yourself in the space. Again, whatever it takes to do that, use it. Those are your tools. All this stuff is just tools to help you do what you naturally can do. Yes, and Roberta brings up setting your intentions. And so what I do with intentions, I do it in my prayer when I start my session. Do you want me to give you an example of that? I could just speak one through real quickly if you like. And by the way, I do give an example of that in here. And every time I do my sessions, I do it. But let's do this. Let's do here. Let's pretend like I'm going to use this tool, okay? And what I would do with my partner, we would grab our hands. I like doing this thing I call circuitry. My feminine hand will go to my partner's. His right will go into mine. So it's a left-right connection. And my right hand's masculine. It reaches into his feminine hand. So we got this circuitry of energies, masculine, feminine, up, down, right, left, good, bad. It's a balance of duality, balance of polarities, okay? So we hold our hands like this after we've done our breath. And this is what I would say. I like to close my eyes because that allows me to get into it. And so let me just say it to you. I would go like this. God, Goddess, Universe, Spirit, all my relations that are here, that have my highest interest, best interest at heart. We welcome you today to this circle so we may speak and know universal truth, wisdom, knowledge, love. We ask that love, the highest vibration of love, surround us. And only that which loves us of light comes through and speaks with us. And we always say thank you in advance. We appreciate the connections, the communications. And with that, we say thank you and we shall begin. That's what I say. Basically, something like that. It's always the same gist. I always make sure I state what it is I want and what I want to connect with. I always thank the ones that are always there talking to me. And I make sure that, I'm clear on that thank you, because it's like, I really appreciate these connections. And having appreciation and sharing gratitude goes a long way, whether it's in the spirit world or, our living world here. Let's see what else. Yeah, it's like tarot cards. Let's see, Super Sport. Perfect. Great. Tarot cards. God, I love tarot cards too. I think I have, 15 decks now. Love those too. It's like a dowsing rod. It's any kind of divination tool. It's very similar. It just happens this one spells. Where the other one, you flip your cards and you read it. It becomes very intuitive too. Let's see what else. It's very similar because you're asking permission to enter into these other realms and energies and have that connection back. And those of you who use other tools, such as a pendulum, dowsing rods, I Ching, tarot, runes, you know that it starts becoming very intuitive. And you use that to allow yourself to do the readings. That's what we're doing here. I use this tool to let myself do the readings. It's channeling, you guys. It's no different than voice channeling, no different than automatic writing channeling. It's just another form of channeling that's so often misunderstood. Too bad. I wish it wasn't. Let's see. James asked, are we going to SoulCon? I don't know about SoulCon. Maybe. Let me know about it. You can send me a link to it. I would love to know. I'll look it up too. Let's see. That's what else? Are you Christian? Are you Christian? That's a fair question. I was raised Catholic. And when I first got my board, I was going to CCD, Bible school, catechism. I was confirmed, all the things. We had rosaries, Rosicrucians, Rosicrucian, not Rosicrucians, the crucifixion. We had the crosses. We had the rosary. And then what happened was I decided to explore other types of religions. So I started at a very young age, high school into college, all the way through graduate school. So for about 6 to 8 years, I started attending a lot of different religions and studying them. And I took courses in college about Eastern philosophies and other types of religions because I really wanted to understand, is there a common connection? I studied Eastern traditions. I studied Native Americans. I really love Native American spirituality. I studied a little Wiccan. I studied natural healing. Mormonism. I mean, you name it. I looked into it. True Christian, born again, Methodists, all these different things. I would go Judaism. I would go and I would listen to see what I'm hearing. And from that, I learned a little bit of everything that's become my own path. What I say now is that I'm deeply spiritual, and I'm deeply spiritual and connected to the one, all that is, source, God, however you want to call it. I try not to bring any religious overtones to the work I do, although it's a part of my blueprint, and I find it very helpful. So a lot of people I do know are different religions, and they still use this tool, and they have great results. They just, again, bring what practices they use there, and they go. Sometimes people tell me they talk directly to God, or they talk directly to their angels, or I know people that are talking right now to some of the archangels or some of the saints. I mean, it's pretty cool once you get out there and try. All right, let's see. Linda asked, as in, can you easily remove negative energy by saying, putting yourself in a happy mood? You don't need cleansing rituals. Absolutely, yes. Now that takes practice. It takes practice. You got to be convinced in yourself that you can do that. Where I am now, I'm convinced in myself that I can do that. It took me quite a few years to get here. It was through all the different trainings I did, courses I attended, really studying with some top-notch people around the country that taught me a lot about spirituality and connecting with the divine within and the divine without. And that has really, really helped me with this tool. And I know that's why I'm able to reach the guides of source wisdom that I reach, because of all this work I did. My third book, The Spirit of Alchemy, this book right here, you guys, this book talks about how to do that, how to connect with your higher self, your spirit guides, and ultimately source wisdom. And it's all through a lot of these processes we're talking about right now. Yes, I agree, a little baby. All religions have a universal code. And the guides always say, we came into this world, no matter what religion or affiliation we associate with, or group or tradition or philosophy or theosophy, we all came in with a DNA source code. And that DNA source code is love. And all traditions try to find it, but everybody just kind of gets stuck in their ways sometimes and they lose it. But that's what those traditions are all about. It's about love. Let's see. Religion is like sun gazing in the way. Sun gazing is the way. Oh, I've heard sun gazing. I've heard a lot about that. So people should look into that a little bit more. I don't practice it, but I do know a lot about sun gazing. And by the way, we have the ability to heal ourselves. This is what the guides say. Everything to heal yourself is on your planet already, including it's under the sun, including the sun. Infrared is fantastic. Ouija is spiritual. Ouija can be spiritual. It depends how you treat it, okay? So you'll see people on the internet doing some silly things with it and making themselves scared because they love adrenaline rush, or they're doing Hollywood stuff, and it's not spiritual. But it can be used spiritually, and I gotta say, that's how I use it. Let's see. Okay, so somebody burned a Ouija, a little baby burned a Ouija. You don't need to do that. I know people tell you to do that on the internet. I know social media talks about it. There's no reason to. If you decide this tool's not for you, you can just give it away. I mean, you could throw it away if you want, or you could donate it to Talking Board Historical Society. I'm a director there. I got my shirt on, as you guys see. I got my Talking Board shirt on. We'll happily take it from you. And then what we do is we work with them and usually sell them or put them in our museum. We have a museum, a traveling Talking Board museum. You don't need to burn a board. You guys, again, this right here is masonite. It won't burn. That pink one back there will burn. This one will burn. It's masonite. That one will have a hard time burning, but you don't need to burn them. That's just superstition. It's like saying, I am a pawn to the world at large. I'm a pawn to cardboard. I'm a pawn to masonite. You're not. You're not. This is an inanimate object. You are the one that has all the frequency and energy and has the one that's able to work with this tool. Again, you don't go throw out your hammer because, you hit your nail when you were hammering in, a picture on the wall. You go, that was dumb of me. I hit my nail. Dang it, that hurts, You're not going to throw your hammer away. It's the same thing. It's a tool. Who invented the Ouija? I'm so glad you asked that. Let's just talk about this for a moment. The Ouija is a really cool tool. People will say it goes back to ancient Greece and China. The Ouija board, as we know it, does not. Instruments for communication do. But where you first saw a talking board, which looks like this, the numbers and letters on it, the English letters for us, our alphabet, came out in 1886. And you guys, it was known as the Witch Board. It was made by the W.S. Reed Toy Company. And they sent a copy of it with a planchette to President Grover Cleveland for his wedding, of all things. And we know this. It's this really cool story. We know this because that letter, they took the opportunity. They kind of went viral with the letter, if you will. They sent a copy of it to the Boston Globe, and the Boston Globe published it. And next thing you knew, everybody knew that President Grover Cleveland received a witch board. And it looked similar to these, but it wasn't a Ouija yet, okay? So he wrote back. He actually wrote back a letter, and he basically said verbatim, it's not verbatim, but the gist of it was, "Dear sirs, although we appreciate your ingenuity for your talking board, and I appreciate you sent it to me as a gift, I highly know that I will not be consulting it for future affairs of the country." And we kind of did a little humor back with it. But the board is very rare. We do know what the board looks like. I don't have one in my collection. But what happened was in 1890 now, a group of businessmen and one businesswoman, who we found out more recently, she was involved too, saw a business opportunity because the spiritualist community was at a heyday. Spiritualism kicked off pretty much in New York with the Fox sisters in 1848. Well, it had been going on for quite a few years, and the spiritualists were trying to develop all kinds of different contraptions and tools and devices to use. And all of a sudden, out of Ohio came the idea of using tables or cutting boards and writing the alphabet on it. And back then, kids even had spelling boards, which had numbers on it and letters, and they would use it in school. They started using that and using different kinds of pointing ideas. One was using a finger. They might have like a little stick or something they used. And these businessmen and women, they saw an opportunity here and decided to run with it. They created the board, the Ouija. They didn't know its name until they asked what the energies, what it should be called, and it spelled out Ouija. And then they went and had it trademarked and patented in 1891. They received that patent. And Ouija was the only board that really stuck through all the years. A lot of copycats came out immediately after, but it's the only one that's actually made it all these years to today, where it's still super popular. And as I mentioned in the beginning, Hasbro owns that copyright and trademark to it. Thanks for asking that. I'm very passionate about this tool. I love it. And I'm glad you're asking about the history. And you can definitely learn more about the history at williamfold.com. My good friend, Robert Murch, who's also a director at the Talking Board Historical Society. He has an exquisite website. You can reach it through my website. And I'll put some links below too, so you can go to it as well. Okay. So you asked, let's see, Super Sport asked, what do you say to the people who are scared to use a Ouija board? I've always been told the Ouija is a window in the spirit world. Anyone can come in and some can stay. All right. Great question. Well, fear, there's really nothing to fear, but be afraid of people. Be afraid of people and be afraid of yourself and your own beliefs. Definitely don't be afraid of this. If you work this tool with somebody who's joking around and using it foolishly and imbibing in weird substances and just being negative towards it, I wouldn't do it. That's when you do draw on more negative things. Your vibration it's a reflection. The communications become a reflection of your own vibrations and intentions, and how you're approaching this tool is going to create what kind of responses you get. Now, can things stay? Well, listen, when I use this tool, I always make sure I have an opening and a closing. I've never had anything stay. But again, this is why I've been real clear with myself that, or I should say with myself when using this tool, is that I say, when I'm done, I'm done. And one of the things I learned to do many years ago, when I first was learning to see spirits, and let's say like in my 20s, I saw it when I was younger, but I was starting to see them again in my 20s and 30s. And I got to the point where they wanted to talk to me a lot. So what I did is I just decided to say, you can't come in my room at night while I'm sleeping. This is the doorway. Sage it. I set up my white bubble of love, light. Your intentions again, you guys, it's your intentions and your belief system following those intentions is what allows you to keep it just a communication device. So tread with it on that direction. Tread with it, finding yourself in the middle first, finding your centered ground where you feel strong within yourself, you feel protected, you feel whether it's saged or crystals or imbued, embodied, and augmented by your other tools that help you, and then work this tool. And I wouldn't use it just with anybody, especially if you think they're just goofing around. If you trust yourself, then use it by yourself. You can use it alone and do that. These are great questions. Okay, so here's somebody. Polaris said, my friend and I just did this tonight, following your guidelines. Keep getting lower astral beings that cannot speak English. Yes, great question. So you're getting beings on there who can't speak English. I've had this happen, okay? What you need to do, and somebody just wrote me recently about this. So this is what I've done in the past, and I've helped people get through this. What you say to them, be polite, be kind. They're trying to communicate. Say, thank you for coming through. Have your fingers on the planchette, just talking to them just like I'm doing right now. Thank you for coming through. Thank you for attempting communication. Unfortunately, we can't understand you. Please call in another being, an energy that has my greatest good at heart. They can come through and help you with the spelling. And if they can't, say thank you. Please wait on the sidelines until we can establish a better connection. And then call in a deceased loved one. Call in your guides. I always say, go right to your guides and angels and those beings that love you. And if you had a loving relative that you want to call in, start with them first and let them come through. Try that, Polaris, and see if that helps you. Let's see. So Linda says, I've seen variations in older Taoist books of people using lettered characters, right, written on paper with the saucer or coin as a planchette. Yes, that is a form of communication, as a form of talking board, but the real talking boards weren't acknowledged until mid 1876 is when they originally, they were 1886. Let's see. My brother, he once had a demon in his head, so he opened his head and put in a tooth of a woman, but devil came out. All right, that seems weird. I'm not sure what that's about. That could be a cultural thing. I don't fully understand how you open somebody's head and put a tooth in it, so I can't help you there. Okay, let's see. Okay, yeah, you're on the right track, Polaris. Good job. Yeah. Okay, so let's see. Does Ouija take more energy for spirit to communicate than through other means, like an EVP or radio scanners? All right, it's different. What really takes longer with Ouija is yourself. It's not the board again, and the energies are there. Yet there is a learning curve for some of them who learn to work with this planchette and help you move it. Bottom line, that's moving something along with your energy, so it does take time for that. But once you make that connection, I find that the communications that come through are really good, are superior at times, that I find that I don't get that maybe that level with EVPs or with other kinds of tools. Yet some people do. This tool has just been a really good tool for me. And I've been able to get it, to work where I have full on paragraphs and pages that continue from the same guides we speak with. Or if I bring in, your deceased animals or your loved ones, if they come through. So it's for me, it's developed into, it's a better tool for me, but for others, they really get a lot out of EVPs or the Frank's box or K2 meter. It's all about registering energy, and which one you feel most comfortable with affects the energy of you and how you work any tool. So again, let's look at it, not so much the tool. Let's look back at ourselves and where are you in your mindset? Where are you in your heart set? How do you feel about this? How do you believe about it? What are your intentions? What do you want to do with this tool, any of these tools? And then from there, you just keep practicing and you'll get good at it. Let's see, there was a time, let's see. I can't say I was ever better at tarot cards or oracle cards. I'm pretty good at those, but it just, sometimes you just pick a tool and it works really well. And I got to say, this is my cool tool that I love. Okay. Let's see. Oh, I always keep gypsy tears in necklaces to protect me from gonorrhea and AIDS. Okay, I don't have to tell you about that. But you listen, people have, if people have um, things they do in their own society and culture and traditions, and they help you feel empowered, do that. Do that. I mean, use those things if that works for you. The key again is not the board, it's you. You get in the right frame of heart first, your energy feeling, your center, and you get in the right frame of mind. And that's, how you approach any of these tools we're talking about. Everything I'm talking about can be used for any of your divination tools. And I'm going to tell you a secret. It can also be used for life in general. When you have intentions for your life and you go about your day in more of a positive state of being, you're going to find that things tend to flow a little smoother. Okay. How do you distinguish the person coming through as being your spirit guide or an imposter or someone just pretending to be someone else? Great question. Okay. I love this question because you don't know in the beginning until you understand yourself in relationship to your tool. So what I tell people to do is don't trust the accuracy of the messages in the beginning. And the beginning is nebulous. It could be for months, could be for years. It could be a decade. I don't know. Everybody's different. It depends on how much you practice, how much you develop yourself away from this tool. And when the messages start coming through, what you want to do is you want to keep record of them. I write everything down. You guys see me. I just write it down as I go. And I'm also recording it on an audio recorder now. So I have those to go back through the questions I asked. I can go back to my messages and I can see the consistency. And the real cool thing is the guys will come through and say, we spoke to you about this before. And they'll go, last year in December of 2017. And sure enough, I'll go back through my notes and there it is. Exactly what they told us. The same topic continuing. And so it's nice to have that. You can go back and see that. But most importantly, having a record, you could see the continuity and if there's consistency and clarity within the messages. When you start to see that they're speaking to you in loving ways, they should never be negative towards you. And they're talking to you about things that you're starting to see, these things are happening, or maybe some predictions are happening, or maybe they're just consistent with their message and it's been nothing but very helpful for you in your life, or it lifts your energy level. That's how you start to know that you're speaking with somebody who has your best interests at heart. Then once you make that connection, you could really start developing relationships with them and finding out who they are. They may just say, I'm a guide. And you go, what's your name? And they say, well, we don't have a name. I got to tell you, so many times guides will come through and they don't have names. And what they tell me instead is, what do you want to call me? And so I call them wherever they enter on the board. I call them the sun. I call them the moon. I make up names for them. And many of these guides you have, of the ethereal beings or the light body guides, they may not have names. Now, some will, but many won't. And know this too, as you have a guide, as you develop and grow, the guide will develop and grow and other new guides and spirits will come through. So see this always as a progression of new spirits. But again, to get to know who you're talking to, if it's a guide, you need to watch this over time. I doubt you're going to get it on the very first 1, 2, 3, 4, 10 sessions, although you may start getting some consistency, and just pay attention to it. And by the way, I want to say this right now, never ever do anything that you're told to do from a board. That's not how this works. A true guide and a spirit that has your best interest at heart will not try to live your life. They will not tell you to go do this, but they might say, hey, have you thought about this idea? And you know what? You'd probably be good writing a song or being a poet. Or have you thought about contacting that person? They're not going to go, you must go contact that person. That doesn't happen. They don't come here to live our life. They don't come here to take over. Instead, they come here to assist us and to cheer us on. There are cheerleaders, you guys, on the sidelines, and they're going to help us. So I hope that helps that answer your question. I try to answer the best I could. Let's see. I have a Ouija board from 1974 cases. Everyone is afraid of you. Yeah, a lot of people are afraid of using boards. It's true. So use it by yourself. That's exactly right. You can use this tool by yourself. I find that when you use it by yourself, it's a little harder in the beginning. It might take a little bit more time. And if you could at least sit down with one other person at some point and just feel what it feels like when the planchette begins to move, then you get to feel, as I tell everybody, it's such a subtle energy. It's so little. If you could get that little feeling and feel it, then when you're alone, you're going to go, okay, I know what that feels like. Speaking of planchettes, if you don't have a planchette, you guys, as I mentioned earlier, these are wonderful. These little CDs I showed you. This is one I got on Etsy. A friend bought this for me and gifted it to me. It's like a little cute fairy. Here's a little paper one that came with that little cardboard thing I was showing you. I got a real planchette back here. You can use a lot of things for your planchette. I've used this. Here's my mouse. And I've actually used my mouse pad, you guys, as a board. This works. You can use a coin. So just remember that you don't need to have a traditional board. Okay, so let's see. Oh, here we go. Mike asked a great question. If you or others are making jokes, not taking the board serious, will the board be serious? Absolutely not. The energies you'll receive, you will receive like vibration. So if you're being goofy, silly, and listen, I've tried all these things as a kid. Trust me, just silly little things at sleepovers, and you just get dumb stuff. But if you really want to use this tool to develop spiritually and to have these connections with the unseen dimensions and to really explore, discover, learn about your past lives, learn about angels, guides, learn about the other dimensions, then you got to take it seriously. Doesn't mean you can't have humor. The guides that I speak with are the funniest. They also things that make me laugh and cry because it's so freaking funny. And Rodney and I've had some sessions where we're just laughing. We're just dying because they say really clever, fun things. And by the way, humor on that level where you're not being stupid, but you're just like kind of enjoying yourself and lighthearted, that raises your vibration. And there you go. That helps you make best connections. You guys, another really cool thing about using this tool, which I love to tell people about, is the byproduct from using it. The byproduct can be, and from a lot of these tools, okay, it's not just the Ouija board, for a lot of divination tools, and even not even divination tools, but like dream work, automatic writing, journaling, shamanic traveling, hypnosis. As you work more and more of these other realms and work those realms within you as an empowered being, you will find that you start to develop your senses in great ways. Your psychic and mediumistic, empathic, intuitive, all these abilities, your third eye, all these abilities start to develop in great ways. We are at a great time right now in the world where the energy is just perfect for change, shift, transformation. We're seeing it all over the world. We're seeing it politically. We're seeing it socially. We're seeing it in many ways. And with the power of the internet and social media at our fingertips, we can reach out and connect with so many people, and being able to hold similar vibrations and to be able to awaken ourselves. So this is the right time to be doing this kind of work and really waking up to the empowered self that you are. So Eeyore said, which, thank you so much for bringing Ouija board into positive light. So many people are afraid of them. For irrational reasons, Ouija boards are harmless. You're absolutely right. Thank you, Eeyore Witch. Yes. Oh, you're welcome. Thank you. There's no reason to be afraid of boards and cardboard, you guys, regardless of what people are telling you. I've been using this board. I'm going on my 45 years and a half right now. It'll be 46 years this summer when I first started using this tool. And as I said, I have 40 boards now. And most of them are sitting out. I think 5 or 6 are put away, but most of them are sitting out around my house. Nothing's happened. And I have no collector friends from the Talking Board Historical Society. They have hundreds. And in fact, one of my friends has over 1,000 boards, and he has a museum in his house, and nothing has ever happened to him either. It's really, okay, again, I would be more afraid of people and my own fears than anybody else, than a tool, than this board. Yeah, so I love meeting all you guys. When you guys come through and you talk to me and you make your comments on this channel and you write to me privately as well, and you share your stories, whether you're struggling with it, whether you're learning about it. I think every question is a great question. There's many of you who use it really well, and you write to me too. And I love meeting other fellow members who enjoy using this tool. So Spiritual Link asks, can I ask you something about emotional body responses? Absolutely. I find these days my emotions are easier to manage, but I still have a physical response. Is there a spiritual explanation for anxiety? Okay. I was a psychotherapist for a decade. I still hold my licenses. So I was trained traditionally in clinical psychotherapy, art therapy. So I have all that training with me. And then I developed a lot with spiritually. And I did a lot of more spiritual, I would say, psychotherapy counseling. And one of the things I want to say is that the energies are shifting so quickly. When I'm saying energies, the earth, the transition, the awakening, what you want to call it a veil, you want to call it stepping into this new energy, is a time of transformation. Many of us are feeling tired. We're feeling haywire. We might feel very depressed for no reason. We might feel elated. It's just, we go up and down. Energies are shifting, you guys. It's a time to reach out and, first of all, get centered within again. I'm telling you, you got to get empowered with yourself and then start exploring these things. Start from that place first. And you can find that you'll find avenues and ways to manage any kind of stress or anxiety you have. I also believe that we're waking up and we're realizing that we're kind of stuck in the body. I mean, we're so much beyond this body, and people might be getting panic attacks about that. Now, having said that, though, if you do have some serious issues where you can't get beyond that, definitely work with a counselor. You work with your doctors who can help you on that, and a naturopathic doctors, whoever you choose to go to. I don't want to give any medical advice, but I will say spiritually, if you work even more with your energies and feelings within and not shut them down, you could begin to understand them better, and you understand why these things are happening. I go back to journaling, you guys, when I have some weird days and weird energies coming through, because I've been feeling them myself. I journal, I write, I just ask my higher self what this is about, what's going on. I let it flow out of me. I don't question it. And then I go back and read it and say, oh, I feel much better already because I had this conversation. Oh yeah, I'm beginning to awaken parts of me that are not in this body. So this gets real esoteric, you guys. This work we do with this tool and on ourselves really takes you into a rabbit hole of exploration and discovery. So don't ever give up on that, and don't stop just because you feel uncomfortable. Find ways to work with yourself internally with that discomfort and let it speak, give it a voice. Yeah, thank you, Roberta. So many people do give the power over to things, and that's really what I teach here, is that never give your power over to a board, superstitions, other people, cultures, groups that take away your freedom. Keep your freedom, you guys. This is one of your gifts from source. I told you your source code is love, your DNA source code, and a gift you're given is freedom, the free will. Never give this away to others. Work with it yourself within. Find that place of personal empowerment. I can't stress that enough. And then all of these tools you use will be that much sweeter for you. So here's a question from Super Sport. Can loved ones that have passed come through, or is this better done by medium? They come through. I have them come through all the time. And I will tell you this. Some of my better luck with having the deceased come through is through my dreams, especially if they're related to me, where their friend has passed on or a relative. Yet I brought many people through in this tool, people's loved ones that come through. And it's not because I just ask them to, or the person that's sitting with me wants them to. It's because there's a mutual respect, and they decide if they want to come through. They may come through because they know it could help you right now in your development, and they may not come through because they think it might thwart you or scare you. So then in that case, they will, if you want to reach out to them, they'll come to you in other ways. So really pay attention to your dreams. Pay attention to the symbols and signs that come to you, the smells, the sensations. You might even get an auditory sound. I mean, the list goes on and on. Olfactory, you might smell a perfume somebody wore. Pay attention to that. But yes, this can be used. When you do this work, you are being a channel, you're channeling, and you're also doing mediumistic work. And sometimes people do psychic work on it. I don't claim I'm any of those. I will say that I channel, but I don't claim a medium or psychic. Although those abilities are there, I just prefer to say I work with the guides and I allow them to be the voice piece and let them come through. So yeah, you can bring them through. All right. So I definitely been feeling the weird energies lately. Yeah. Yes. Shade says the same thing too. She's saying, I think you're she. Yes, you are she. Journaling helps for sure. Oh my God. Yeah. Thank you. Exactly. The other one, it says, my uncle and I in 1968 asked the question if life exists on the moon. The answer was microscopic plant life. Cool. Yeah, you guys that's great. I'm glad you're exploring with this tool. This tool can be used to speak to sentient consciousness, anything that has a sentience about it. And you can explore off planet. So this is why I take this tool seriously. I mean, I have a good time with it. We definitely joke, but I take it seriously because it's become almost like a remote viewing session. You can start to explore and discover many things you didn't think you could ever before. One of the things I just truly love to do on this board, and I've talked about it many times on this channel, and if you haven't seen that video, go see it. It's about how to speak to animals, animal communication. That started for me in 1994, I think it was, when one of my cats came through, and this what happened, you guys. So you could talk to your deceased pets and your very much alive pets. This is one way to dial up a frequency. So I'm sitting there with my board partner at the time. We're talking to my angel, Mary Angel, and she says all of a sudden, "You're not going to believe who wants to talk to you, but I'm going to bring him in." I'm like, "Okay, bring him in." You know, spirits talk to me all the time. It's cool. So the planchette changed directions, went a little slower, and then it spelled out, Roberta, you're going to remember this one. Hermes cat, I love you. Roberta in the chat room knew my cat Hermes. I said, "Are you kidding me, Mary Angel?" She says, "No, I'm not kidding you. Your cat, very much alive, sitting right there looking at you. He used to sit on a rocking chair watching me do the sessions, was communicating with me." He introduced me to animal communication. I've been doing it ever since then. And so, you know, when you drop the fear and you see this as nothing more than just a phone, in fact, I call it my great cosmic wireless phone. Like this one, you can't reach the moon. This one you can. You could reach all kinds of sentient beings. I talked about trees earlier. So if you get serious with this tool and you want to use it, you can explore and push the boundaries of consciousness. I love that you ask questions about the moon. That's fantastic. And okay, so it says, yes. Okay, so being an energy healer, I help people transmute the collective energy that are hanging happy. Yes. Yeah, Roberta's a healer as well, and she works with transmuting. It's an alchemical process, transmuting through her energy work. And she's a great Reiki practitioner and does meditations and helps people with that. Absolutely. You can find people that you can study with that'll help you. I mean, we all need each other. We need help. We can't survive in a vacuum. So do reach out to people. I appreciate you guys being here so we can have this conversation tonight. And maybe it helps spark or inspire you on some level to really become more empowered. The energies are asking us to take back our power, and I can't stress it enough, and to become empowered people, guys, divine people. Can you talk a bit more, this is from Aaron, about the other dimensions that the guides have talked to you about? Yes. Any one in particular that you love exploring? Oh my gosh. So I'm working on a new book, as I mentioned to many of you, and it is about exploring consciousness, and it's pushing the boundaries of consciousness. That's about all I'll say about it right now. One of the things I enjoy doing this tool is exploring different sentient beings I can communicate with. Some of my favorite, first of all, I love the animals. I love all animals. I talk to wild animals too. The animals are so much fun because they're very direct, and especially your pets. And one of the most beautiful things I've learned talking to the animals all these years is that they are here as our master teachers and healers. They are here to help us and assist us in growth. We think we're rescuing them. We think we're caring for them. And yes, we do. You know, you might pull them out of a shelter, save them from euthanasia or whatever happens, you know, or they adopt us. Yes, we're doing that. We're giving them love. They're giving us love back. But would they really come into our life to help us learn some valuable lessons? And the lessons are typically about unconditional love for yourself and for others. And they're just master healers and teachers. And I love talking to them. One of my favorites that comes through is Panzer, my black cat who just transitioned in July. He's been on the show several times now. He's in one of my books. He's like this sage, this wise sage now. And when you do transition, I like to use the word transition because there really is no such thing as death. We just continue to live in another existence. So I call it a transition. The spirit guides and people who die call it life. When we do transition, we do get some more awareness about ourselves, and we learn about love more, and we get to learn new things and evolve. It's not like you're all knowing and all seeing, but you do tend to have more of a wise self about yourself. Yeah, so I really love talking to the animals to answer your question. And then one of the interesting characters that came through, and I have links to it, it's on this channel, is about some cryptids. And one of the, or you could say mythological characters, we might call them. But when the dragons who are really called dragoons came through. That was just phenomenal. So I really enjoyed those conversations. And I continue these conversations all the time when I get on the board. A lot of it, I just do it privately. Great question. Thank you for asking that. Let's see. Okay. Thank you so much. You're very welcome. It is positive. Oh, thank you. Yep. We're going to be ending here too. It's 5:00. I'm glad you joined me, you guys. Okay. I have channeled. Here we go. Somebody said they have channeled. Oh, have I ever channeled? Oh, me. Otherworldly beings such as ETs. And yes, I have. Woo, this goes way out there, guys. I haven't spoken a whole lot about this, but once, by the way, Roberta, who's in this chat room, was with me when we first started channeling ETs back in 1989-90. So she started it with me. I've been working with them ever since. It's a matter of do they want to come through or not. We spoke to them just recently, and I have some direct communication with them. It's really interesting. And the ones I speak with are all definitely benevolent. They're all here to help us, and they love humanity. So again, get your energy, your vibration where it needs to be. And that energy for you is what's going to attract back to you in life, on the board, off the board, and a lot of things you do. Real quickly, let's see. I'll answer 2 more questions. Jay Wright asked, what do they generally say in regards to diet, vegan, raw, carnivore, anywhere in between? This is what I found from all these different beings. They all have different ways of eating. And when I speak to them, some don't even have to eat. But when I talk to the animals, like the animals we eat, I've spoke with buffalo before. You know about buffalo and cows. Well, we don't eat dolphin, but some people eat dolphin. What I find is that they will gladly give of themselves to those who love them and use them humanely. They will gladly give to the native people, for example, in North America, who would use the buffalo and all parts of it and respected that animal, respected that sentient being. It's when we give them disrespect, that's when they say, we need to look at loving ourselves and loving others on the same level. I'm not here to tell anybody what diet they should follow and even diet. My guides would never direct that either. They just ask us to do everything in love. So it helps to say a prayer before your food, whether it's vegetarian, vegan, or carnivore. I am a vegetarian. Sometimes I vacillate between veganism. And that's been me since I was 22. I've just been that way for a very long time. And that fits me. And I do have a soft spot for the animals, but I'm not here to judge, and they don't judge that, by the way. The ethereal beings that come through the higher ups and these ETs, they do not judge what we're eating. Even the animals themselves say, just do it humanely, please. We know we are here to serve you and we love you. They love us so much they're willing to lay themselves down for us. And the buffalo says, we will give ourselves when we're treated humanely, but not unlike how the grass lays itself down for us to nourish our bodies. So they understand the cycle of life and how one thing might eat another. It's the way life goes. I'll take one more question. Yeah, thank you, Erin. Yeah, thank you. I'm looking forward to my next book too. Okay, have another live video. It's nice to see you again. Yeah, hi, you guys. It's good to see all of you. We're going to end this session here. When I do another live session, we will do a live one. It'll either be messages in the hat where I request you to write in your questions, and we put them in a hat, and I'll pull them out, and we'll pre-record that. It depends on Rodney's schedule too. He's been so busy with work, and so we might have to do that. If not, we'll do a live session, but don't worry. We'll do either one of those really soon. We're due for one. And then at that point, we'll just do your questions. It won't be me educating or talking like this. It'll be you getting to ask and speak to the guides directly. Also know too, I do a lot of live shows. We did Jimmy Church Fade to Black not too long ago, a radio show. We're talking to a group right now in the UK. We might be doing a show for them. Every Halloween, I do Spaced Out Radio. And these are all opportunities for you also to call in and ask your questions. And we have chat rooms as well. So again, I want to thank you all for joining me here. You're a delightful group of people. I appreciate your time. I appreciate you subscribing, liking, subscribing to my channel. And I appreciate you being part of this group here. And I love you that you love Ouija too. And so with that, I want to say have a wonderful evening, afternoon, morning, wherever you may be. And thank you again for joining me. And I love all you guys. Until next time, happy boarding, guys. Bye. Thank you.